Debris drags metal and alloy from an evacuated town. Bryan withholds a secret from Finola. Hello, everybody. I'm Steve from VALHARTV, and today I'll be reviewing Debris, Episode 2, You Are Not Alone. So this episode starts out with we get to see like all these different metal pieces, from big trash cans to bicycles, propane tanks, chains, all start to be dragged away across the ground by this new debris. And it was actually really cool, like opening. And then we see like a mysterious guy watching it. And then Bryan and Finola arrive. And as they get off the plane, they're talking about Peeps and how they're really good to eat, and things like that. And Finola's never had them because she's from England. And as they go on, they start to talk to the team that's already set up there, and they start to figure out that like these giant walls being formed by this debris, by all this different metal. And as they search the town for the debris, Finola ends up getting like satellite images that show the metal is forming a ring around the town. And as they search for the debris in the town, they find a man named Eric. Now Eric can't remember like his last name or really what he's doing. He's trying to think of something, but he can't quite remember what it is, and he keeps like telling them just to give him a few more minutes and he'll think of it and then he'll leave. And it's very interesting because he really starts to ramble, and he doesn't seem like he's all there. He's really distressed. And then as it goes on, we learn a little bit more about what's going on with him. But as the episode goes on too, Bryan ends up talking to Finola about her personal life, and especially her father. And we learn that she sat with her father in the morgue all night, and then she was trying to get a hold of her sister, but they're really not, on speaking terms that much. So Bryan's, you can tell he's trying to pry her for a little more information so he can go back and tell his CIA boss. And as they're going through, Bryan and Finola end up getting the word that the center of the circle is at Eric's house. So they end up suiting up and entering the house. Now, this is where things get really interesting and bizarre. As they're trying to locate the piece of debris, we can really see, it's more, you can hear things like people running or something in the house. So they go up and through to reinvestigate after, and then Bryan does find the piece, and he's like, okay, nobody goes in without a suit because this is a bigger piece again, and it's doing some weird stuff. So after he goes back up, they do cut into where Finola does talk to her sister finally. But I mean, that's really more the side drama. I mean, that did for me, it took a little bit away from the episode, but it wasn't bad. But as they go through, like, there's some really good sci-fi aspects to this. We get to see like things in the house like appear in the air, and then they just drop to the ground, and they just keep going. And like one guy goes up and looks down at the floor, and he's all like, he's shocked at what he's seeing because it's really bizarre looking. I was like, ooh, it's a little bizarre. I was like, that's really cool. And as they go through, they do learn a little bit more about like what the debris is capable of doing, and they have to figure out how to shut it down. So the episode ends with Bryan talking to his CIA boss. I believe his name is Maddox. I could be wrong, though. And, they're basically discussing the George Jones situation, which is Finola's father. And you could really tell when Finola gets into the vehicle that he really wants to tell her, this secret that he has, that her father might be alive, but he's not, but he can't tell her because his boss doesn't want her to know. So we see some really cool things for the effects in this. We first see the metal moving across the ground, which I thought was pretty cool because we really get to see like all these different things moving, and they're just seemingly moving to like random places. As you we get to see further on in the episode where we see like part of the wall around the town is getting built in different sections, and we also get to see like a pulse of energy that goes through the ring and starts to compact it as they're going along. So I thought that was really cool looking as well because it's like a big wall of energy that just flies around, and all of a sudden you can see like the stuff go get smaller and smaller, more compact. You know, it's really cool looking. And we also get to see things start to, like, again, appear in the house, like in air, and then just keep dropping to the floor. But when you see what it is, it's very bizarre and cool looking. The acting in this was fine. Again, it's a little rough around the edges, but this is episode 2, so it's absolutely fine. If this was like episode 100 and it was still the same, I would be concerned. But this is episode 2, perfectly fine. We're still learning about Bryan and Finola's backstory and their personal lives. And again, we see Bryan really wants to, tell Finola about her father, but he's also trying to pry information out of her too, while she's not doing that to him. Other than the fact that, in one part they do talk about like what he saw in the house and like what that most important part was. And he doesn't want to answer, but he answers her about like he's from Texas, his parents still live there, he has no siblings. So he literally opens up like that, but he's more interested in her family, like her father and like their relationship, because he's trying to get information about him out of her. So it seems like the pieces of debris are directly tied to human emotions as well. We see this in episode 1 with the woman who wanted to see her son, and it ended up manifesting a version of her son to her. And this one was different aspects of somebody's personality. Like what the least important parts are that they're trying to get rid of, basically. So this is really kind of interesting. I'm wondering if this is going to be a theme going forward. It seems like it is already, but we might get a piece of debris that might be something different. Might not even be tied to human emotion. But so far it seems like it is. And we also get to like a little more details about each of the organizations that are going on here. We learn that there's a new organization that both the MI6 and CIA start to investigate, and we get a little more about both of those organizations as well. So I did like this episode. I thought the emotions they kept bringing in with Bryan and Finola were a little much for this. Some of it could have been done in episode 1, but they're more focusing on the mysteries. So overall, though, I thought this was at least a 7.5 out of 10. If you guys like what I do, please hit the like button and also subscribe, as I'll be doing more content each week. And leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought about this episode. Take care for now, everybody.